Welcome to episode number 4 of Excel Beyond Boundaries, where mindset meets movement, empowering you to excel beyond boundaries. I have with us a special guest, George Moulos, who is an entrepreneur and athlete, triathlete, Guinness World Record holder, and the list goes on. Very interesting man. So I'm grateful for you joining us today. First, if you want to share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah, no, pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I'm an entrepreneur first before anything. I got into entrepreneurship pretty young, 13, 14 years old. Weirdly, I guess maybe it's not so weird, but my entrepreneurship coincided with taking fitness seriously. So there, when I was like 13, 14, I started like e-com online businesses and affiliate sites. I also just started running and lifting weights. I'd always done like swimming as a kid from like 6 to 16. I was just doing swimming almost every weekday because I'm Australian and we love swimming. But I did it at like a national level in Australia. And yeah, beyond there, like for me, it's my journey in entrepreneurship. I've always seen entrepreneurship as a superpower and also just fitness as a superpower. Being healthy, living healthy, for me, it's always been a superpower. So, yeah, my last 13 years of entrepreneurship has kind of been a journey that this fitness thing. I'm no athlete. I don't know if I deserve the word athlete in my bio, but I definitely have always incorporated fitness into my lifestyle, and that's helped me be an entrepreneur, be a comedian. So yeah, happy to dive into all this stuff because it's something that is such a big part of my life. But because I'm not a professional or anything, I never really get to talk about it.
I wanted to ask first, so you said you started your fitness journey right when you started your entrepreneurial journey. Would you say that things you learned with fitness, like being consistent, learning discipline, learning how to really focus your energy, did that transfer over into your success as an entrepreneur?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think maybe one helped the other, or they both helped each other. But I literally remember because such a big part of my childhood, and this is a big thing for Australians, I know for sure, and Americans and Canadians, but not so much in Europe, especially not in Greece where I live now. But like sport, I played football like at school for the school on like, and we play on Sundays. I'd play at another football team with all my Greek family friends, and that was another football team. And then I'd do swimming like 4 or 5 days a week at like 5 a.m. in the morning as my own thing. And then sometimes on Sundays we would do this. It's like a beach sports called nippers in Australia. So like at any one time, I'm doing between 2 and 4 sports a week. And like in winter and summer, then I'd be playing water polo or rugby or like something else. Like sports is such a massive part of any Australian kid's life. It's insane. And swimming is like always one of the top sports in Australia, and that's why we're like the second best in the world after you guys at swimming,
Wow.
just because like we're so obsessed with swimming. So for me, my childhood was swimming. Like I was always the swimmer. I remember at my primary school, like my junior school, I would they would give out the awards, the assembly of the school, the week after the swimming carnival, and they would just be like, so first in butterfly, first in backstroke, first in breaststroke, first in the medley, first in the 200 meter. George, here's your 15 awards. I'll just go and just pick up an award. I'm like, this is lit. And just for 6 years, I won every single race for 6 years of junior school. And yeah, in high school, I stopped going to look, my mum was very strict and she would wake me up no matter if I wanted to wake up or not to go to this 5 a.m. swimming training. But after that, she says, look, you're 15, 16 now. You can decide if you want to do this. And I was like, nah, fuck that. And I was like, I want to do something else because I was so sick of it and the discipline of it. But it did instill in me this like insane work discipline and work ethic. And I was like, I want to do something new, but I don't know what to do. And then, I'm reading these books about entrepreneurship and self-development, all the standard books. And always everyone says, health this, health that. Mind you, I'm 26. So when I was like 13, 14, it's like the gym influencer and like roided out dudes on YouTube was like the move, right? So I'm like, oh, I need to get a fucking six pack and be shredded and be massive. And I remember I bought these dumbbells that were filled with sand from like Target here in Australia, and I was just doing bench press on the garage floor, dumbbell press on the garage floor, And that's how simple it started. I just created like a workout plan on a piece of paper, and as it was like once a week or whatever, and it was very half-hearted. Like my efforts at entrepreneurship at the time were very half-hearted. I read a book, highlight some pages, finish it, apply things if I felt like it. If things got hard, I let it go. But I remember when I was like turning 14 to 15, I was like, it was New Year's, and I went to my uncle's house. This uncle's a billionaire, right? Now, my family, my immediate family, my parents, we're lower middle class, but this dude's a billionaire. He's a self-made entrepreneur, billionaire, and I remember going to his house for New Year's. I'm just thinking like, why is this guy's life so good? Like,
Mm.
it's like, and as a dumb kid, you're just like, he's rich. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember just going home and just like angrily writing down, I want a six pack. I want to build a business. I want to be rich. And I remember I set on my phone I set an alarm for 5 a.m. to go running the next day because there was an athletics track near my house. And I'm going to go there. I'm going to do laps until my fucking feet bleed. I woke up at 5 a.m. I'm like, fuck. Like on the 1st of
You
January.
you changed your mind, or
And
you followed through with it?
I went for it and I went outside in the freezing, like, I'm in Australia cold, but I got to the athletics track. I walked around it one circle and I went home. I'm like, I'm good, dog. And the funny thing was, and I gave up. I was like, yeah, this obviously isn't happening. And the next day, I forgot that I left the alarm on, so the alarm went off again at 5 a.m. And for some reason, I was just like, all right. And I just ran there. I did like 2 or 3 laps, which was still like less than a mile. It kind of just compounded from there. And look, I'm a short dude, right? What, 5'10" something? Like I'm a short dude, and my body's like 90% torso and 2% legs, man. I got the shortest legs in the world. So like I'm not meant to be running. I'm not supposed to be transported. I'm supposed to be staying in one spot. And I remember when I played rugby, my coach was like, "You're a prop," like which is like the big dude because I was my size when I was like 15, and everyone else was still like pre-puberty. I had a beard, and he's like, "Just go through people and then pass it because you're not the runner guy." I was like, all right.
That's
Now
funny. Gotta
I'm
play
like,
when you're strict.
and it's like, I don't know that for me, that was like, yeah, fuck that guy. I'm gonna run anyway. And I was always like for me, like my body type makes it easier to put on muscle and fat very easily. But to lose fat and get to a low, like to get to 10, 13% body fat percentage is reasonably hard. It takes some pretty insane dieting and then on top of that, a lot of exercise.
Yeah.
And so like yeah, when I was like 15, 16, I did my first like run, like proper race run. It was a quarter marathon, which is just another way of saying like 10 kilometers, 11 kilometers. And for me it was like crazy that I did that. But it was like the first thing I did that wasn't part of a school race, that wasn't part of something my mum made me do. It was like
Yeah.
I wanted to do this.
First thing
Also,
on your own.
yeah, first thing on my own. And also like I am not supposed to be running. This ain't my sport, dog. And I did it. I was like, yeah, it's that weird feeling of like, I think that, the feeling was probably like, this is who I'm becoming. I'm becoming someone who does stuff that he's not necessarily good at, that's extremely hard, but gets the job done. And that's still the
Absolutely.
kind of person I am. And like, years went by. I still went to eventually my I went to the gym at my school and just started lifting weights. I've probably been lifting weights like at least a couple times a week, usually like 5, 6 times a week, every week since I was like 15.
That's
For
good.
me, it's for me it's everything. I love it, and always some decent amounts of cardio. For me, it's usually running, walking. I've like killed ellipticals, man. Like I've done so much time.
That's good.
Yeah, man. Usually, what I do is I mean, look, when I left Australia and I graduated high school, I didn't go to college or anything. And when I traveled, that changes the pace of your and what you can and can't do. Because I would go to a new city every week. So, like, I'm not paying a month gym membership in shitty European gyms and staying there for a week.
They really were different in Europe too. I feel like they're a little behind in
Yeah.
the fitness industry, right?
So behind, especially in Greece. In Greece, like maybe in the last 12 months, a gym chain has opened up. It's called Ultra Life. Before that, it was like the one old dude who has a who's bald but has a ponytail and sells you steroids too. And the machines have like they're rusted out like crazy. And you're
I
like, yeah,
remember when we would
but
visit, it'd all be in kilograms, and there'd be like maybe one gym in the whole region.
and look, man, I always from I that's why I really got in, that's when I really got into running because I'm like, look, if I can't go to the gym, I'll just do gym at some park and I'll run. And yeah, and then eventually like all the weights and stuff, like I always had like a more developed upper body because I'm like 90% upper body and 10% legs. And I have the gift of having mad definition and crazy big calves. So I never do legs. I never train legs in the gym. I don't.
I mean, it sounds useful though for your record that you did.
Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, I did a half marathon in Sydney. And then when I finally moved to Europe, I did a marathon in Sicily in like 40-degree temperature, which is like the hottest it gets in Europe. And then I started doing Ocean Mans, which is like these swims in the ocean, like two 5K swims. And then I got into Spartans the last few years.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, 5, 10K and 21K races. And then yeah, something kind of clicked in the last year or two. I'm just like, I've been taking it up a notch every year with my fitness, and I've been reading about ultra runners for years and years. Like I read Goggins' book when it came out in 2018. And I think the more I've endured pain through Spartan races, running races, swimming races, I just realized it's all mental. And most people fail mentally before they fail physically. I'm the opposite. My body will fail before my mind. My mind is a fortress, dude. I'm a fucking savage. But
That's an amazing thing.
yeah,
That's where it starts.
that's what I learned on this walk. Like my knees literally buckled before I would stop every day. It wouldn't be from
Man,
so
at
yes,
least though, because
yeah.
most people, like you said, they limit themselves, and so it's cool that you know your limits and you push past those limits. And it's beautiful that your fitness journey, it seems like it started like a similar trend. It started with, just walking around the track one time, and then it built up to what you're doing now. And you're definitely an athlete. I know you said you don't feel comfortable, you didn't think of yourself as an athlete. You did the Guinness World Record attempt, all these races, swims, your whole life you've been active. Definitely an athlete,
We'll
for
see.
sure.
We'll keep it up. But yeah.
Quick question. So I know you live in Greece, and you're Greek, but you're Australian as well. So you grew up in Australia. I never asked you before. And then you moved to Greece for family, or where were you born? And then why did you go to Greece?
Yeah, so I was born in Australia. I was born in Sydney.
Okay.
My dad was born in Greece in the island that both my parents are from, Kythera. Man, I never liked Australia. I never felt Australian. I think so. I left Australia when I was 18, 19, and I moved to Europe. I never went back. And man, I think for me as an entrepreneur, I felt like an outlier of my community or friend group because I was an entrepreneur. On top of that, like I grew up in a part of Sydney with like five, like my primary school, my junior school had like four Greek people out of like,
Wow.
it's like being Greek was being the outlier. And then those friends, you kind of lose those friends because I went to another school, a boys' school, a rich people's school, and I was the poorest kid there. So I was an outlier again. And again, I was like, there's only five Greek kids, right, out of 250 now. So I was an outlier within an outlier there. And then
Strange.
and then when I left high school, everyone else went to university. I didn't go to university. So I was an outlier and an outlier and an outlier. And I just never felt part of a community. And also, Australia is like America in that it doesn't have the social cohesion that countries like Greece do. And even more so, Australia doesn't have the absolute pride that America does because America's the best, in my opinion. Like, it has that we're the best mentality.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So being Australian is just like, in my opinion, the culture of being Australian is getting pissed drunk on a Friday with the boys, and that's it.
I hear it's wild down there.
Yeah, like so I don't know. And for me, traveling and leaving Australia was a journey. I didn't know I was going to go to Greece. I went to Bali first for 7 months. I did a new country every day, every week for like 6 months in Europe. So I just kept going, and I always found
Man,
myself coming back to Greece. And not because I was living it up in Greece. I stayed in the poorest suburb in Greece, in Athens, called Victoria, with my cousin. and I was broke. So like it was tough times, but to this day, I still consider Victoria home for me. And yeah, it was just a process of finding my spot in the world where I fit in. And look, I'm 26 now, man. I moved there when I was like 19, 20, and now I'm like, I'm Greek.
You've done a lot for 26 years old.
I feel old, man. I'm exhausted.
Man, you really have. And not to be off topic, but I love Greece. I miss it so much. Last time I went, because my dad's from Isthmia on the Corinth Canal. Last time I went, I was 18 and I'm 36 now. So,
Bro,
yeah,
what?
we're supposed to go ideally this summer because it's been way too long. I missed my family, I missed the food, the people. It's such a
Good.
special place.
Man, it's weird. I every time I leave Greece, I'm like, I can't wait to go back. And once I'm there for a bit, I'm like, "Oh, these fucking people, bro, they break my balls." But that's what being from a country's from. That's what it's about. It's love-hate relationship.
That's true. Man, I miss it so much. So then, what inspired you to begin? So correct me if I'm wrong. What inspired you to begin your fitness journey was more so the wanting more out of life all around, seeing the rich relative and being like, I deserve this, and then that translated into every aspect of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very basic human desire to want a better life. And for me, that definitely started most obviously with wealth. Like I just saw the wealth differences between me and the people I went to school with, me and other family, extended families. I was like, I don't want to work with my hands like my parents have to, and my grandparents have to. I don't want to have to do that. I want to do it by choice if I want to. But that was one thing, and then also I just saw like fitness is also like something that's just going to massively improve my quality of life. I enjoy it. I get massive benefits from it, and every slump I've been in has been when I was fat and unhealthy, and then every peak I was at was when I was killing it and very disciplined in my eating and my working out. So I'm like, these things are one and the same. But yeah, for me, the inspiration for my fitness has always been just, I mean, I guess which is a desire for discipline, a desire for order, to be honest. And I just always have had this internal clock that probably my mum instilled in me is like, what should I be doing today? I got to be working, exercising, and eating right. It was something that was just never.
Checklist.
Yeah, it's like today I'm chilling. Like I'm injured. I have like a two sprained ankles. I've overextended my what's it called? My calf and my I'm in a decent amount of pain and my knees are fucked up. Yeah, from the
Man,
March, which ended 2 weeks ago. So I'm forced to like not exercise.
that actually perfect segue to explain your record attempt. With the so it was from the northernmost part of Greece to the southernmost part of Greece,
Yeah.
fastest time on foot through Greece.
Yeah. So we started in Ordomenia, which is like near the Greek, Turkish, and Bulgarian border, which is the far eastern corner of Greece. And then we basically went like 12 days going from east to west and then going down.
Man,
And yeah, so it was 26 days, 4 hours, the total from north to south. Yeah.
how many miles was that or kilometers?
So 741 miles, 1,200 kilometers roughly.
Man, I saw your stories. It looked beautiful,
Yeah.
but I can imagine how mentally challenging that was. What was the most challenging part?
Man, so every single day something came up. So the first day we really had no idea what we were up against at all in any capacity. And then the first day, like I thought, okay, I did like I did my second longest day on my first day, which was I did 62K, which is no idea in miles.
I was just trying to calculate that.
And I was like, okay, that was pretty good. If I can do 60K a day, I might finish this in like 18 days. I got like 5 blisters the next day. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be
Oh,
brutal.
man,
So I only did like 20K. I did like less than half of what I did that first day.
and the terrain, Greek terrain is
Yeah.
not smooth.
That second day, like the first day was pretty flat. The second day was mountains, like straight up, was some of the biggest mountains of Greece. And not, we didn't even get to the end of the first 24 hours before the police knocked on our door while we were sleeping on the caravan door, and they were like, "You need to leave here. You're in like the a hotspot for human trafficking." And we're
Oh,
like,
damn.
what? And so we're like, all right, well, we can't, I can't, I'm not walking right now. So we just waited. I was like, yeah, they probably over exaggerated. I woke up the next day to take a piss in the forest, and I just looked behind the tree line, and there's like beds and all this stuff, clothes.
Oh,
I was like,
sketchy. Yeah.
and then I was going because Google Maps is a motherfucker, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, go down this path into someone else's house or someone else's farm. It's a shortcut.
Yeah.
They sent me through rivers, and so like that's second day. I'm going through this path, which is like I've never, no one's been on this path for years, and I just see fresh footprints on this very like abandoned road. And it rained like the day before or the couple of days before, and then I just see footprints, and then the shoes that were those footprints, and then a bag, fresh clothes, and then nothing. I had my knife. I'm ready to stab someone, dude. I'm freaked out.
Man, creepy. So he just disappeared. Whoever that was just disappeared.
Well, we were like 200 meters from the Bulgarian border. So they jumped from Turkey through the mountains into in Greece, then into Bulgaria. So the first
Ah,
days was all like being scared of these human trafficking routes that we're going through.
dang.
It was also a culture shock, man. Like, because from the most northerly point through Xanthi, Roropi, and Gomoteni, it's Muslim majority, if not like decent minority, which I didn't even know there were Muslims in Greece, right? Because we're like pretty ethnically homogenous. And I was like, okay, didn't expect any of that. And so it was a culture shock. And then like Google Maps would send me through rivers, which I'm like, okay, my feet are wet now. Or they would send me through like completely, there's no road, there's no way to go through, just rose bushes, so there's thorns everywhere.
That's crazy. I feel like they do that on purpose. Like let's mess with people a little bit.
At some point in the like the later in the last few days, they sent me through like railroad bridges with no fucking road and just like the slots. It was like a stand by me moment where I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? And it's like, no, I was gonna die, dog. So like something, man. Like another day, the first like 10 days was all blisters. That was the biggest pain, right? And then the pains of my hamstrings were just like toast, man. The thing is, you can't stretch your body enough to be ready for 60 kilometers in a day.
Well,
Yeah, boy,
yeah.
it's not
And you
gonna.
had the backpack too, and with the terrain,
Yeah, man,
man.
it's added up though. And then the rain for 3, 4 days, and then that happened twice. And then the cops just it stacked up.
Man, I didn't know it rained. It only rains in Greece like around November, December, right? Otherwise it doesn't really rain much. So that one part of the year.
Yeah, exactly, man.
How was the temperature? Was it I know as you got south it probably got a little warmer.
Yeah, well, that was a funny thing because like winter's coming and where we're going from the coldest part to the warmest part. So we're like, we thought it might end up being the same temperature the whole way down because we're kind of going against the time. But the first day, we caught it on the video. It's like, first day we started, the hour we started, it was 0 degrees. So like cold, right?
And that's Celsius.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
it was chilly, right? And on the last day, as I finished the world record, I had no shirt on. I was sweating like crazy. Like by the end, I was like, so pretty much like, but some days I would have to wear like 3 jackets and a raincoat. And like there was another big thing that happened was like it was so windy one day that I was like it was like I had to stop basically like
Man, whoa.
because I had to go uphill and against the wind. So I was like making no progress at all. So
Crazy, the extremes.
yeah, man. And yeah, it just and then but I think it was this weird thing that happened though on the 12th day. On the 12th day, because on the 8th day, like I opened my shoes up properly to look at my ankles, and my ankles were like huge, like grapefruit, like swollen like crazy. I was like, fuck. And because I was so used to pain, I was like, yeah, it's pain, dog. What's gonna happen? You're gonna die walking? No one dies walking, you know? And then I took a proper look at them, and I flashed a light on my ankles. I was like, that's not normal.
Yeah,
I
you
was
gotta
like,
listen to your body for sure.
yeah, I'm like, that's not good. And I just took a bunch of ibuprofen and I put a bunch of like ankle braces on and stuff. And we took a rest day. I did like a half day, only like 20, 30K.
Only.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Like, it wasn't that painful. Like the rest of the journey for my body, no more blisters. My ankles still hurt. Like both my ankles were sprained badly. But I was like, it's not like a peaking pain. It's like a 2 out of 10 type of pain.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was not too bad. And really, by the end, by the last 10 days, the only pain that I had was my overextended hamstring on my right leg, and like everything else, I was just like, it is what it is. Just do it and then rest later.
So your body pretty much adapted quickly.
So quickly, man. Like
Nice.
it was crazy because I was like, why aren't like the first 10 days, 12 days? I was saying to Gael, who's the videographer for it and supporting me the whole way through. Like I was looking back on some of the videos, I didn't even remember some of those days. Like I didn't even remember some of the cities I went to because my brain, like my body was like, you don't need your brain, you need your legs.
Yeah, just zoned out, focused on surviving, basically.
Like even like I realized my fingernails didn't even grow that much. Like I didn't even like my beard didn't even grow that much because my body was like, we need to focus our resources on getting your legs better. And I was like, it
Interesting.
was just about my legs and getting them better. And I was like, and we would like even looking back on some of the videos, I would come in from like a lunchtime at like midday, just dead. I was like, I don't know if I can continue today. Like maybe this is all we can do today. Just dead. Like Gael would see me, he's just like, this guy's fucking toast, man.
Man,
Non-verbal, and if I'm non-verbal, I love talking. So if I'm non-verbal,
something's wrong.
yeah, and like we would just have some meat, have a salad, hydrate, and I'd be like, great, let's go do 30K. And I looked at it, I looked at myself, I'm like, how did I like an hour and a half and I'm good to go? But the body's just like, if the body
Yeah,
has to do something, it's like, all right, let's do it then.
that's amazing how the body adapts and kind of redirects resources. 'Cause I do believe that it knows, it knew that you needed to recover more, so it probably channeled more
Yeah, man, he just gets
energy,
into survival mode. It's like, oh
healing.
shit,
Yeah,
well, we're gonna die if this kid doesn't, if we don't redirect resources in this kid's body. So yeah, and like my brain was just a fog, man. Like my brain did not operate for like those first 12 days.
that's
I was,
crazy.
and then after that, I was just like
You
pretty
just
mellowed out, actually.
That's amazing the shift that happened though. It's like, what do you think the main shift was? You just kind of your brain and body accepted it and just enjoyed the moment, more living in the present.
Look, it that was a big part of it because like I had so much pressure on myself to make this be some sort of experience that's going to change my life. Like I'm going to reach a mountaintop, I'm going to be have all these lessons, but I said I don't want to feel too pressured to feel something or to like change something. I'm just going to do it. Like I'm not going to I'm going to push myself as hard as I can. That's why I'm doing this. I wanted to see what I can do. But it definitely, all those first 12 days, things just added up. And the 12th day, I made a sprint across the delta, which is in between Thessaloniki and Katerini, and it's a massive delta. If I went the road that Google Maps told me to go, it would have been another day and a half, right? Instead, I would have had to go like that. Instead, I went like this. But I would have to go on farm roads and then cross and then jump onto the motorway, which is illegal, and cross those bridges that go across these rivers that didn't have any pedestrian bridges. And I was like, I really don't want to get caught by the police because if I get caught by the police, one, I could be arrested. Two, they're going to send me back 50 kilometers. Then I got to do that extra 70 kilometers, so like 3 or 4 days instead of trying to skip it to make it one.
Not
So
worth
I
it.
stressed the fuck out that whole day, and I couldn't resupply because I was in farmlands. It was completely inaccessible by car. So there was no like lunch break, nothing. And it was
Man,
55-kilometer day. And then, so the two bridges, the police caught me, right?
both times.
And both times, immediately. And I just bullshitted my way out. They're like, all right, just cross, but don't do it again. I'm like, cool.
That's funny
And
how laid back it is.
yeah, they're like, we don't give a shit. And I was like, oh, whew. And but that night when I got to camp, I was like stressed out. I was fucking just I was out of it, man.
I
And then
see.
they just we kind of mellowed out. The body just was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're not even fucking halfway. Let's not give up now. We have to like but by the 12th day I could gauge what this was gonna be like, what the overall challenge was gonna be like.
It's interesting because, from what I've learned from you and hearing you talk about this, it seems like you have such a adaptable mindset. You just let your mind and body adapt, and you learn so quickly. Because some people with the more rigid mentality, not as open to letting things unfold or open to growth, they might have tried to fight it or, got it in their head and, canceled. but you let things unfold, and you let your mind and body work things out. And so the second half of the trip, it sounds like it was just way easier than the
Yeah,
first
man.
half.
It was that weird thing where I was like, I know I'm going to finish this thing. I don't care if it takes 2 months or 30 days or 26 days or 27. My goal is 27. We did it in 26 hours and 26 days and 4 hours. So I beat my goal. But I was like, I'm doing this fucking thing and nothing's going to stop me. This is like, we raised money for Greek orphanages. Fantastic. I'm really happy about that.
Awesome. That's
We
amazing.
we made amazing content. We had amazing experiences. We met amazing people. But I'm going to be honest, this was about me doing something fucking impossible and proving to myself that I can do impossible shit. Like I wanted to do it for all those other reasons, but what inspired this was I want to do something that I don't think I could do.
Good, good. That was my next question too. You're
Yeah, so I started it. I was in Money, the most southerly part of mainland Greece, with my mom earlier this year, and I was just looking at Google Maps. I'm like, how crazy would it be if someone walked from north to south? And my mom is a tough motherfucker, dude. She does not suffer fools. She wasn't soft or gentle in her raising of me, but she raised a savage with that methodology. And when I first said I wanted to start a business, she said, "You're a nobody. Why would anyone want to be your client?" And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do it anyway." And then I did it
very
pretty well.
direct.
And now, when I told her, I think I think I want to walk across Greece from the most southerly point, the most northerly point to my southerly point. She now, 10 years later, she's like, yeah, if you put your mind to it, you'd probably do it. I was like, now I got to do it. And yeah, and then he just stuck with me in my head because I have a million stupid ideas like this. And I was like, well, this is the most impossible of all my ideas. And I'm the type of person who, if I see a challenge, my first question isn't the first thing, like my first reaction isn't yes, no, this is or isn't impossible. It's how. Like, I remember I had my ex girlfriend. This was years and years before. I said I wanted to do a marathon. She's like, you can't do that. You can't do it. I was like, well, now I have to do it. And when I go past that finish line, I'm gonna be thinking, fuck that. And I
I
remember
like
this
that.
the same about the same marathon. I called my mom like I want to do the Barcelona marathon. She's like, how? I'm like, well, I'm going to train. I'm going to do three 10Ks a week, 121K, and 30K. This I'm going to set up a schedule. I'm going to eat different. And she was like, all right, if that's your plan, get to it now. You ain't got time to waste. I was like,
I like that.
that's what. So like when this idea came, I was like, how would it work if I was to do it? And yeah, and I just got to work with it. But definitely, look, the physical side, like I said from the get go, man, I am a 5 foot nothing. Like I'm genetically built to not be going anywhere. And like any decent runner, dude, like you are a better runner than me. You could have done it in half the time, probably. But I just knew that mentally, there's no one better than me, at least in my age group in Greece. No one's gonna outrun me in my age group. And I wanted to see what I'm made of. We live such cushy.
Yeah,
So I was like, what can I do? Well, what can we do if I want to battle against the terrain of Greece itself and see what who comes out on top?
man. No, I love that because everything you just said is so symbolic of success in life. Like the more you do things you don't want to do, your brain changes, you get more disciplined, more focused, you learn more about yourself, how to
Yeah, man.
apply yourself, what you're capable of, and you just keep breaking through any perceived limit that you have of yourself, you break through, you break through, you break through. And it's so inspiring because most people are uncomfortable to consider doing a marathon or a fitness competition. So they might take them a while, or they may never even consider it. But by setting a goal that's uncomfortable and then figuring out the how, it changes your life. I love the everything you're saying. It applies to all areas of life. It's amazing how
Also,
it comes together
I had
holistically.
yeah, when I came back to Athens and I was just had to rest because I literally could barely walk from the bed to the fridge. I like maybe 5 or 6 days after I did like a comedy set in Athens, and like man, I didn't give a fuck, man, and I killed. I was like, it's kind of weird. Like I just super like relaxed. I'm like, and I thought about it the next day. I'm like, oh, probably because I have the confidence of a person who just did some impossible shit. And also, like, I've been talking to like strangers every day nonstop for a month across the country. Uh, so I'm like, I'm in an air conditioned bar drinking a beer. Like, yeah, this is lit. Like, it just
Yeah.
in context. And yeah, man, it definitely like holistically throughout my life now, I'm just like, what the fuck can stop me? Like,
Yeah.
like there were things that could stop me, but like within my world of like what I'm trying to do, what's gonna like what's gonna be, I feel like at this point in my life, I feel like I'm an unstoppable force in the things I want to achieve, and there's no such thing as an immovable object in my path at this point. Like, so like but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those insane challenges, and I booked now for a backyard ultra, which is a race that's going to be here in Cyprus. I'm in Cyprus now in March. It's and this is a different type of race. There isn't a distance, right? It's last man standing. So there's just
You keep going until I like that.
yeah. So it's like a 6.5K. I don't know. That's like 2 miles circuit, like trail circuit on a mountain here in Cyprus. And it's like you need to do 2 miles an hour. And if you don't finish those 2 miles in an hour, you're disqualified. But 2 miles in an hour is pretty easy. But it's the last man standing until you keep completing those loops, right?
Adds up fast.
Yeah. So I think most people get to like usually it's like a day or a day and a couple of hours. So I've done 26 days of 60Ks a day. Now it's like, all right, here's a new challenge. And for me now, it's like, all right, well, that's another mental challenge because it's not like you can. I usually walked for like 13, 14 hours a day. It's like, how about you run for 29 hours straight? you
Oh
know?
yeah, easier transition.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny because that was my next question. I feel like you're psychic. I was gonna ask you what you're currently training for. So when is that gonna be?
So that'll be in March.
Okay.
I don't know. I part of me wants to focus on something I might actually be good at, which is shorter distance running or like Spartan races, like obstacle course races. I'm wicked at, dude. It's the one thing I'm actually decent at. Like the 5K Spartan race that was in Sparta. I came first. I was the first for my age group in Greece and third for the
Nice. That's my dream to do that one in Sparta.
like yeah, man, I love that race. But it's like it's not a challenge. Like I could get faster at it and like whatever, but also like it's not a challenge. So I like my training now, like I've always loved boxing. I always did boxing at least a couple months every year. So I'm gonna get back into boxing, get back into more short term, shorter distance running. But I always want to have in my back pocket like the ability to do some insane ultra running stuff.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think what I'm after now is like a hybrid, right? I kind of like
Hybrid
Nick.
athlete.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm always going to be swimming and running in boxing. That for
Yeah.
me, but lifting heavy ass weights and ultra running is kind of what I think is. And for me, man, it's also just mental. If I don't have something that scares the shit out of me, like dude, the month or the 2 months before I started the march across Greece, I would go to bed. I was like,
I'm nervous.
fuck, man, I don't get
Yeah.
nervous, man. I don't get nervous for anything. I went to bed thinking like I'm gonna have to like, and I was so right in my nervousness. I was like, I'm gonna have to walk for 60 kilometers, 14 hours a day, and then go to bed that day in extreme pain, knowing that I got to do the same thing tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after and the day after. And like when I actually did the march across Greece, that was actually the worst part of the whole thing. Like knowing that tomorrow's going to be so much worse. But now it's like, well, this ultra marathon, this backyard ultra, I'm not scared of it.
Oh yeah, compared to that, it really puts things in perspective.
Exactly. But like it does have that feel of like, man, when I'm at hour 25 running nonstop, it's like, what is that going to feel like?
But yeah.
So I like having things that scare the shit out of me, basically.
That's a
Yeah.
good mentality though. I mean, life's so short and I love how you just throw yourself into things and then you figure out the how after. Like you come up with the idea, I'm gonna do this, I'll figure it out. I love that. What would you say? So your desired training style would be hybrid style, having that endurance base and then sort of specializing for whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah, I think that's a look. I look back to kind of ancient Greeks for how to, I guess, yeah, how to schedule, portion out training, how it should be. Like for me, I've always been, my dad was a farmer. I've always loved working with my hands as much as I can, being an online entrepreneur. So for me, it's like being able to, at any moment, jump into a fight, jump into a run, jump into a swim is mandatory. Like, I gotta be ready for anything at any point.
Oh yeah.
And also, like, I've never functioned well in my business, in sales, in calls, in comedy, in content, if I was unfit at the time or if I was unhealthy at the time. I felt like shit and he reflected.
Affects everything.
Yeah, like, and like so much, like, I've always had this untold, and this was like during the March across Greece, because everything was about fitness, because I lost like 7, 8 kilos, um, which is like 20 pounds,
Man.
in these 26 days. I looked at everyone that I met, every like young dude I met, I'm like, your body is a reflection of your discipline in food and in fitness. Like it's right there. I can see it, you know. I can see
100%.
how much money you have, right? Like a dude with a Ferrari, is like, okay, I can see it, but most people don't flash their money like that. But like I can see this dude and I can see he doesn't have discipline. That's
You're
an
right.
amazing thing to observe, right? And like it's so great because you can see that in yourself. You can't bullshit the mirror. Like I know when I'm like, yo, you know, you really put on some decent weight over Christmas, motherfucker. You look disgusting. And I'm like, all right, back in the game, you know. So for me, definitely, it's always like had to have a good ready state in general, and that's definitely weights. You know, 5, 6 days a week, running 3, 4 days a week, putting some boxing in there, swimming in there. But I also do just a ton of body weight exercises because I'm like 85 kilos naturally, 175 pounds, which is, and I'm 5'10", which is like heavy for that height.
Yeah.
Body weight is tough. Body weight exercises are tough for me, which makes it super easy to, really good to do. I don't always have to go to the gym. But yeah, it's like that's my usual routine. But then when I buy a ticket to a race, things change. So like if I buy a Spartan ticket or a marathon ticket or a swimming race type thing, I'm like, all right, now I have to like change things up a bit. Like with the Ironman that I did in October, I swam, cycled, and ran like maybe every 48 hours. I did like all three disciplines. So like
Man.
it was just rotations of those three.
A lot of endurance. It sounds like you're blessed with endurance though. Seriously.
I don't know. I think I just I used to have this friend when I was a kid, and he just man he just never really cared about pain. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like I was like one of the best in the state of New South Wales in Australia uh, for butterfly, 50 meters, which is super fast, super short, heaps of energy, and then I was dead by the end of it. Right, this guy would do like the 10,000 meter, 10 kilometer swim. I'm just like, how the fuck you guys? I don't really feel it. I don't feel the pain. I just lock in and that's kind and the thing is like time doesn't even go by slowly. It's such a weird concept, but like I was never bored on the March Across Greece. And I remember when I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid, I would be working and then I'd look at the clock and it'd be like 9:06. I'm like, oh, fuck. Don't look at the clock for like half an hour, get the work
Time goes by so slowly.
and burgers. I look back, I'm like, I've deserved it. I'm gonna look at the clock. 9:07. I'm like, fuck.
I used to do the same thing. Only a 3 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't like that at all, man. And the March Across Greece, man, I never felt bored. And even like if it was quiet or if I was listening to music or listening to a book, I was like, it just is what it is. And the hours just went by, dude. Like I counted it up. It was over 1.8 million steps. Like it was just
Whoa.
hours upon hours, steps upon steps upon steps. And
What
it
did you
just,
think about while you just let your mind wander, let things come to you?
yeah. So like I definitely have a very active mind. Like I tried meditation for ages, but for me, my meditation is like active meditation. So for me, it's running and walking. So for me, it was really good to go through beautiful places and just think about whatever. And also, I'm a comedian, man. I'm making fun of everything in my head. I'm having a great time. I'm in guy's head, what has shoes. So I
I
was
saw your
always,
stories.
yeah, like I'm always
They're
like
funny.
thinking about stuff But the quiet moments definitely can, because even your brain just gets tired. It's like, I can't. I got no more comments. I got no more material.
Your stories were hilarious. You'd be like, walked over a dead sheep today. Some dude was making fun of my structure with the
Yeah,
backpack. He looked
dude.
like that
Like
was funny.
there was so many moments of like, but then there's just those moments of just absolute nothing, where like I'm not even thinking anything. Like for me, I usually have like a voice in my head of talk, like me talking to myself. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. And like that's the voice in my head. Like you should, take a break in, half an hour, and then you can go again, take 5 minutes. But at some point, it was just like nothing. No music, no audiobooks, no. I recorded a bunch of like a book I'm been writing out like a book, right? And I'm just recording on voice messages, and I'm just like doing that, but I'm just like I finished everything within like a week. I'm like I gotta, and then I don't know, man. It was so weird. Like I called my friends reasonably consistently, but like man, a lot of it was just being alone with myself, thinking about
Good.
stuff.
Therapeutic.
Man, it
Yeah.
was work, but it was also like I was, to be honest, there was a lot of days, not a lot of days, but there were a few days where I was just sad, like just like mad depressed about certain things that had happened in my life. I'm like, bro, this is the time to think about it. You have
Yeah.
nothing but nature to look at. It's time to reflect. You got all the time in the world. And man, I just thought it out, like thought about different perspectives of stuff. And yeah, and like coming back to life, I'm just like, I'm just a bit less worried about everything after that. Yeah.
That's so interesting how it kind of set the bar at a certain level where it's like little things that used to stress you out no longer stress you out. Like
Yeah.
that, yeah. Like
We
that
had
reminds me
nights.
of. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So, go, go, go.
No, I was just gonna say, I have a friend who he was in the Marines and he's got crazy stories. And this dude, he almost died like 5 times. And so it's funny because this guy doesn't care about anything. Like nothing stresses him out.
Yeah, you just like, you're like, oh, yeah, this is bad, but also, you know, that was that time I almost died when I fell off the thing. So it's like, I think I'll be okay. Like,
Yeah,
and you see that in entrepreneurship. Like, I remember seeing this documentary of Elon Musk's like first ex-wife. She's like, this dude just dealt with so much stress. Just and had more stress and more stress, and he just got better at dealing at stress with stress. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what entrepreneurship is. And being a capable man is just about being able to deal with stress. And yeah, man, like for me, I want to be as capable as possible. And the quote that I say endlessly to my team and to myself is this quote from Jordan Peterson, which is in your is you should see how hard you can work. See how many hours can you work a week? Is it 60 hours, 80 hours, 100 hours a week? Go to your max, and then bring it back to what is optimally sustainable. And then how much socialization can you do? Um,
integrate the balance.
yeah, so I'm like, this is part of that. Like I went to an extreme, and then I brought it back to what's optimally sustainable.
I like that.
For me now, like that has now set the tone for me. Like March Across Greece was for me a marketing tool against for myself. I'm like, George, if you can do that at 26, what are you gonna do at 27, dog? Because you
Yeah,
got to do that
yeah,
shit. So I'm like,
$100.
what's next?
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that, man. Thank you for all of that. This next couple of questions are gonna be more so fun. What is your favorite gym song that gets you pumped up? Is it like Greek rap?
Yeah. So,
Bossy Khan?
dude, I only got into Greek rap the last few years. I definitely love Moscow by Light.
Ah, I love that song. Yeah, I like listening to some Greek rap when I'm working out. I don't
Yeah,
understand what they're saying because I never learned Greek, but
it's
I
good,
love
bro.
just the yeah,
Yeah, actually good. A lot of them. Some of the songs are trash, as in any language, but man, for me, I was an Eminem kid, bro. Like I was an angry teenager. So Eminem was like, and Eminem's albums were like only a few years old when I was a teenager. So like for me, it was Eminem, and I remember just singing Eminem "Lose Yourself" into the mirror as a kid, pumping myself up for a race or a game or something. And now when I hear it at a club, I'm just like, you don't even know what that song means to me. You're like, oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, this locked me the
That's
fuck in.
funny. Brings back memories. Yeah, that song was powerful. That used to be my number one or number two on my gym playlist too. Man, that's cool. That's funny. Uh, if you could work out with any celebrity or athlete, who would it be? Would it be like actually I'm curious to hear this.
Yeah, so look, Goggins is up there, right? Because he just has that savage mentality that I like to think I have too. But also, like, look, I've always loved the roid heads that get me pumped up to go to the gym. Love them, but also, like, I don't want to train with them. I like the people who do just savage, like ultra marathoners to me are like insane human beings. And funnily enough, I read like every ultra marathon running book this year just to get into to learn. And I'd read Goggins all his books before, and he is the I love him, respect him, but he's the loudest ultra marathon runner, right?
Oh
For sure.
yeah, oh yeah,
And look, there's the hardest race in the world is Moab, right through the Death Valley. Now he's been in it 5 or 6 times. He didn't finish like 4 or 5 times, and he came third or fourth once. That's good, dude. Really respect it. But
oh yeah.
also, there's a Greek guy called Dean Karnazes who won 3 or 4 times, and he came top 10 like 10 times.
Dude's insane. I read about him.
Yeah, man. He did the longest run, just the longest single run. It was like 500 fucking kilometers.
Straight
He
through.
is the greatest runner of all time. Like I'm like for sure there's a bunch of, your Usain Bolts and the epic Kenyan runners, but that's 40 kilometers. That's not very far. That's short course compared to ultras, right? So it's like, and funnily enough, so I message Dean Karnazes, and he lives in Greece now. I'm like, dude, let's go for a run. He's like, for sure, January.
No way. You're running with the Incarnatus?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. I read about this dude. And he ran
No,
like 400 miles straight. Like just a straight 400 miles, no sleep, no like just fueling as he went.
so yeah.
Man, that's amazing. I've got to hear about that
Yeah, no,
once
I'm
you
sure
do it.
we'll do a podcast together. Yeah. So for me, it's him, and it's happening.
That's amazing. Damn. I'm definitely gonna follow up with you on that. For your diet, you just eat typically healthy Greek food? Like or
Look,
any specific diet?
look. When I'm not locked in, I'm a degenerate for sure. Like I'm lactose intolerant. That's one restricting factor for me. The other thing is like I hate like sugary stuff usually, like candy, so ice cream and stuff. Can't have it, right? Because it's lactose. Candy and sugar stuff, I don't really like it much. For me, it's carbs. So like, for me, I go crazy on carbs for sure. But that's my problem. Like I have an addicted personality. I have an addicted personality. That's why I don't touch anything. I can't handle bread, dude. So I don't touch anything else. Bread is
Man,
so when it comes to diet, I find dieting way harder than working out, way harder than walking across a country. The good thing about the march across Greece was I ate like 4 or 5 thousand calories a day.
oh
I just
yeah,
did not stop eating from the
whatever you
morning to
want.
back in. I just didn't stop, man.
Food is
And
so good.
it was great. It was great, and I still lost weight. But like it's been 2 weeks now, and the 8 kilos that I lost, I put it back on, just like that.
Just like that. Man,
But yeah, when I'm locked in and I'm losing, cutting, basically, I go like pretty low carb. I'll pretty much just eat a bowl of oats for my carbs each day, veg and meat. So it's pretty much carnivore diet with a bowl of oats. Kind of put some fiber in there.
a lot of olive oil?
Yeah, fuck that olive oil. Love olive oil.
Yeah, I love my girlfriend's always like, why do you put olive oil in everything? I was like, it's so good.
Yeah, man. High fat. I like high fats, and also, man, I've just learned to like over the years what does and doesn't agree with my body. Like basically like a high protein, high percentage meat diet works well for me, and anything except that, anything outside of that usually just doesn't agree with my stomach. And yeah, like if I just want to put on muscle and shred, it's pretty much just eat meat and veg with a tiny bit of carbs, and
That's
I
healthy.
calorie like crazy, man. Like leading up to the Ironman, I went from like 2,500 calories a day to like 1,200 calories a day.
Whoa.
Cut it down like crazy. And
Yeah.
because I have an addictive personality, I can't have like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna buy some crackers. I'm gonna eat half a pack today and half a pack tomorrow. I can't do that. I'm gonna eat the whole pack.
Yeah,
So
you
I
eat
just
one, it's gone, it's over. I know what you
so
mean.
I can't have anything in my fridge except for eggs, steak, oats. That's it.
No snacks, the basics.
Exactly. I literally live like a Spartan when I'm cutting, and I'll walk around the block just to not go past McDonald's. Like
Mm.
I am an insane human being when it comes to my habits for my diet and my discipline, and it doesn't make sense, but just sometimes it works to reach my goals.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like you know yourself so well, which is another good thing because a lot of people don't have that level of self, awareness.
Yeah.
So at a young age, that's definitely, and that's why you're so successful.
I just know I can't. I'm black or white. I'll be like, I can't be measured and reasonable. Like I'm either going to eat every slice of bread in a block of bread, or no bread. Like I can't. Well, I'm gonna, if I bought it, it's there in the. I will. Like one time, I got this one story for you, bro. One time, I dieted perfectly all week, like really calorie restricted, 1,400 calories a day. I went boxing every single day. I shredded like crazy, and then it's Sunday night at like 11 p.m. It was in Athens, and I was like, I've done so much good work this week. I've burnt like 8,000 calories. That's a kilo. I'm like, I've killed it. Then I'm like, I would love a fucking pizza, man. Oh, I would love
No,
it, dude. A big pepperoni pizza. Oh, fuck. And then I ordered it, and immediately as I ordered it, I'm like, what have I done? And then I looked at the calories. I'm like, it's exactly like 5,000 calories. That wastes my whole fucking week.
man, you ate the whole thing.
Dude, I tried to call them, and I'm like, can you cancel it? They're like, nah, it's coming. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, and I said to myself, I was like, George, as soon as that pizza comes, you throw it in the bin. And then the pizza came, and I went downstairs. I'm like, I'm gonna throw this thing in the bin. Yeah. And then he gave me the pizza. I smelt it. I was like,
Man,
let me take it upstairs. Hey, let me take it upstairs.
just
I'm
one
like,
slice.
dude, I got in the elevator. I'm like, I'll have one slice. Once I had one slice, I was like, I'm not having one slice.
Nah, you killed the whole thing.
Dude, I got into my apartment. I had like 3 or 4 slices, and there's like half a pizza left. I'm like, you know what? I folded the box in half. I put it in the bin under the sink. I'm like, you've ruined the fucking week, but it's still, recoverable. I went to bed. It's like 1 a.m. now. And I'm just like, what would go really well right now?
The rest of the pizza.
I open up the bin. I'm like, give me this fucking pizza. I finished the pizza.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
I'm on the kitchen floor eating pizza out of a fucking bin because I don't have any discipline.
Bam. I get it. No, I've done that before. It's like so you could have so much discipline in all areas of your life, but then kind of splurge every once in a while. Yeah, that's funny, man. Do you prefer morning workouts or afternoon workouts? Because I feel like it's 50-50 from what I've seen.
Man, from for most of my life, I'm like work during the morning, just get the work done, and then midday hit the gym. And I also like
Really?
because I used to live in Greece and Cyprus and hot countries. I love just walking or running to the gym, no shirt, tanning. But nowadays, especially if I'm shredding and I need to increase my calorie burn each day, I usually go in the morning at 7 a.m. and then I go again at like 4 or 5 p.m. for a run. So it's weights in the morning, run in the afternoon. So it's both. Yeah, 2 workouts a
Okay.
day.
Good. Wow, that's a lot. So then you kind of you don't have a preference, or you prefer more so the afternoons, or you
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
just fit
definitely
in when you
more
can?
afternoon dude. I'm like,
I
let me
see.
just have a fucking coffee and start my day as I'm going. But I do appreciate, I mean, I feel so great after a morning workout, but it's just like, I hate it.
And the culture too in Greece, everyone's up so late, like midnight dinners. So I guess it makes sense. It's hard to be a 5 a.m. person.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It is.
But yeah. Have you been to a cool gym? Any, I know you traveled so much. What's the coolest gym you've ever been to in any of these countries?
Man, there's this one gym in the island, the 3,000 person island I'm from, has one gym with the most state of the art, like techno gym machines. It's like three
Really?
levels. It's got a fucking sauna, massaging. It's got a cafe. It's got a view. It's state of the art. It's some like apparently Chinese mafia job. I don't know what's going on, but it's so good. And it was empty, dude. It was fucking empty. And I was like, this is the best gym I've been to in the world
Wow. Greek Island.
in Githita. Like it's so, but
Man,
yeah, literally the best gym I've ever been to in my life.
it's funny because I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but like these little Greek islands are, some places are like 10, 20 years behind, older cars, like a well you get water from, you fill up your jugs. And so
Yeah,
to hear of like a state-of-the-art gym in like a little tiny island, that's so strange.
it's literally they're saying the rumors are it's some Chinese billionaire job. I don't know, it's some sneaky business. I don't know.
Interesting. That's cool though.
Yeah,
Gotta,
great tune. I loved it.
yeah, I gotta check that out one day. I really, man, I miss Greece. What? My last question, a couple questions. Do you have any weird fitness habits that others might find surprising?
Weird fitness habit.
Or pre-workout rituals, like if you do anything specific before or after?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube playlist that I've pretty much been like most of it I've listened to for like 15 years. Motivational like videos of like Eric Thomas yelling at someone. All this motivational shit
I like
from
that.
like 15 years ago, man. I just go through the same thing. It's not every day, but I'm like, oh, you know what? I need a push today. I'll just listen to that YouTube playlist I made. And I just go through it. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. And then I just listen to music and stuff. But that's my probably weird pre-workout.
Get yelled at before working out?
Yeah, yeah. Just
That's
gets me like
funny.
angry. You know, like, yeah, let's fucking go.
I saw a meme one time on Instagram and it was saying like how women get inspired and it was like her listening to like, you are beautiful and then how the guy gets inspired it was like no one loves you and it was like the opposite. And it's funny because I feel like that's true for most men and
So
women.
true.
It's like we want to hear like if we feel that we're like loved and it doesn't make you want to work. Yeah.
Tell me I'm a piece of shit. I'll go work out for 5 hours.
Yeah, we want to get mad. I used to channel everything, any anger, frustration into my workouts. That was my motivation. Yeah,
100%.
that's funny. I actually forgot a question. Back to the diet section. Do you have any special recipes? Since, you're in Greece, any specific amazing Greek food recipes?
For sure, dude. From my island, because it's an island, it's just mountain and sea. We don't have like meat recipes so much, but we do have like just ancient Greek soup recipes. Like fava is one of my favorites, and revithia. My mom's a revithia. Like it's a family recipe. It's just like chickpeas, I think it's called. I forget exactly which one, but it's like lentils. Like lentils are just a goaded, yeah, like recipes with lentils. They're like super high protein, super healthy for you, and pretty easy to make too. So like revithia, fava, Greek salad, you can't go wrong. Like has so much
Man,
things that we try and put into fucking protein drinks and ready cooked meals. Revithia and fava gets you there like 90% of the way.
yeah, like a nice solid lentil soup makes you feel
Yeah.
so good. It's funny, this entire conversation, it's so powerful with the perspective you provided with, your record attempt, and then it's man, I'm just thinking of that one more question. It slipped my mind. It was damn, it'll come back to me in a second. Yeah, if you could create your own signature workout, what would it be generally? You don't have to get into like, exercise and reps. Generally speaking, what would it be and what would it be called? Because I know you're a very creative person, so this will be interesting.
I the when my friends come to Athens, I like to do this exact workout, and it's like if anything is my workout, it's this workout. Firstly, like we start just by going to the gym and doing like buys, tries, chest, shoulders, like a 60 to 90 minute long workout. Like we're destroyed by the end of it. And always do like I'm a 100 sit-ups a day type of person, like every day, no matter what, unless I'm like injured like I am now. And then we hit a run, like a 5, 10K run, all through the bloody hills of Athens.
Oh,
And then
man,
there's one outdoor gym. Outdoor gym. It's a fucking couple of rocks and a log. It's and a bar, but it's got a view. It's on Philopapou Hill, and it's got a view of the Parthenon, and it's just all dirt, and it's just like one bar. We do just chin ups, pull ups, and there's just stones. There's just big ass.
man, it's like a ancient Greek Spartan workout.
Best, I love it, and I'm like, great. You did 90 minutes in the gym. You did an hour of run. Now we're gonna do 45 minutes of lifting fucking rocks and logs and all this shit. And then I
Functional.
3 or 4 of my friends after we've done that, they just leave like, dude, I'm fucking done. I don't know. I would probably call it like the Spartan workout, man,
I
because
like that.
it brings everything. It's like shorts, weights, shorts, running hills, which is all of Greece, and then it's just like stones and logs. I can't beat that functional training.
Man, and there's something about running, just running through Greece. I remember we were on the island of Samos, east, and it was over the summer, and there was a heat wave. It was like 110 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was hot. And there's just something about running through the Greek countryside, smelling the dust, the pine, I don't know what it is, but it feels so right to just,
Yeah, man.
man, that's
And
so
that's the thing,
cool.
man. thinking like, bro, of all the countries I've run through and run in, Greece is the safest country, man. Like I've traveled to everywhere in Greece now, walked through everywhere. Not once was I honestly scared about anything. Like it's just
Interesting.
and like nothing's gonna happen ever. So I'm just like, it feels like a playground because you can just go anywhere, you can do anything. Everyone's fucking nice. The police actually protect you 99% of the time. It's like it feels like a playground where you can just be yourself and do whatever you want.
Big family.
Yeah, like it's
That's
just
awesome.
chill. Just oh, you want to go run up that mountain? You see that mountain and you want to walk up it? Do it. Like just go wherever the fuck you want. It's like a free roaming kind of feeling.
I do love that about Greece, how free it is. No one really, in my perception, I went to Northern Europe and I went to Germany for a friend's wedding, and it was a beautiful country, so organized, so structured, but very rigid in the fact where, it was like, it seemed like people didn't deviate much from the social norms. Like it was just so, and which is cool. And, I respected how organized it was and all the amazing things about the country. But then going to Greece, it's like the opposite. It's like, a little chaotic, but no one judges. Everyone's just doing their own thing, not giving a fuck.
Like
Yeah,
in Greece, like driving in Greece, everyone will beep at you, but no one's gonna fight you.
yeah,
They're like beep, you're like, yeah, fuck you, and you keep driving.
yeah.
It's
It's
but we're
just
not
straightforward. Yeah, man, I miss it. But we got to get a workout in for
yeah,
real.
man.
Be
Come
awesome.
to one workout in Athens.
Deal, deal. I'll have to make a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, George. I really appreciate you taking time to share insight about your fitness journey and your record attempt and provide all that perspective within that. A very powerful episode. And I'll, yeah, that concludes episode number 4. I'll stop this and then I can talk to you for a minute.